Well, isn't this just interesting? We're here with the lead RE. Look, it's him.
It's me.
And this is me. Me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
supposed to say something, Leary.
Mm-hmm.
We're here today to do a very special episode, much anticipated. This is a podcast, Leary.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing about Garden of Sinners, movies 1 through 4. Garden of Sinners, also known as Karanokyo Kai.
Okay.
What a cool assortment of words.
Mm-hmm.
We've been talking vaguely about doing this for a while. This is because we always reference our great viewers that the wider audience might not know about. But Heath, our biggest fan, my biggest fan, he doesn't like you.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite thing of all time, I don't know if that's true, but one of them is Karanokyo Kai. He's always talking about him. He's been blustering us. What do you call it when he's poking us? Poking us to do it for years, so we caved.
The original origin of this is that on my Media Digest, people used to comment stuff in the comments and be like, you should react to this, or like, watch this. And then one of those was the Garden of Sinners, and that was the first time I ever heard about it.
Karanokyo Kai.
Yeah, I think it said Garden of Sinners, but yeah, true. Yep.
So in case it's like, well, why are you doing this? Now, Karanokyo Kai is a relatively popular movie series anime thing. It's from a light novel, as I understand. A lot of light novels, I'm assuming. Boy, does it feel like it. We'll get to that in a second.
It's adapted by the Demon Slayer studio. Oh my god, the
It
Fate
is
studio.
Ufotable
Yep.
has done it. They're the Fate studio mostly, and then apparently new people know them as the what's that show called? Demon Slayer.
Yeah,
show?
significantly more popular.
Never
Demon
seen
Slayer.
any shit like that. This they did before Fate, I think, or maybe that old Fate is in early 2000s. These are from 2007 to 2009, basically, and then there's one that's later. There's like 10 of them in total, I think. We did 4 here because we were told. That's a good
stopping
point.
Yeah.
Well, Heath kind of said there's not really a good stopping point, but this one will be okay because apparently 5 and 7 are longer. But anyway, that's why we're doing this. We'll see if there's many Karanokyo Kai fans here, and what will I think of us? Well, that'll come out in due time. Any other preamble? I guess I first heard of these when I was probably like 11 years old because they were in a Glass Reflection video where it was the top 25-ish anime you should watch as a new anime fan or something. Number 1 was like Cowboy Bebop. Number 2 was Evangelion. Number 3 was Trigun. Full Metal Alchemist was in there somehow. It was just all the most popular things, basically. And I think there were 2 movie series or something, and one of them was The Garden of Sinners. And from then I saw it, and there was this crazy music playing, and I was like, that looks really cool. Once upon a time, probably like 10 years ago now, I did watch like the first 2 minutes maybe of the first movie. I remember the shot of the dog walking through the blood as he walks past who we now know as Shiki Alita. Can you believe it? And I've always been curious. And I've always been under the assumption that there were a series of 7 murder mystery movies. This is not true at all.
No, not at all.
So my expectations were all over the place. Other than that, Heath likes them a lot. People seem to like them a lot, so it was supposed to be good. That's basically all of the baggage coming in.
I had none. I didn't know anything about it. The only thing I knew was Kyle said it was some mystery thing. And I was
Well, Yuri doesn't know anything about anything. He's never heard of anything that isn't Demon Slayer.
Now, did you watch this in sub or dub?
Sub.
Okay, I watched this in sub as well.
Okay,
so just checking.
that's fine. I assume it has a dub.
I have no idea.
How did you watch these, Leary? I just
rented them on YouTube.
Oh, that's
and
right,
the third one
it.
was out of sync and I had to refund it, so it was a complete mess.
How did you watch it then?
Oh, I just Googled it and it was on Billy or something. I was like, okay.
So you really watched it in shitty quality too. I can't believe you do that. Even on YouTube, what's it in, like 720p?
I think it's like 1080p. Yeah,
now,
it was really good.
Crazy. I don't know what the torrents were. I think they said Blu-ray, so that must be good. Now, before we get into our personal thoughts, our last Heathism here is that I've screenshotted his My Anime list where he's ranked every one of the movies, and we'll go through the scores. I think that'll be very funny. There is nothing lower than an 8. We've got the first movie a 9, second movie a 9, the third movie a 10, the fourth movie a 9. These are the ones we've seen. Then he's got 10, 8, 10, 8, 8, 8. So my goodness, are we in for a 10 out of 10 next time? But we already saw one. Or did we? That's all the preamble. I have written down here, I want you, Alita, to set the tone of this discussion before I say anything. So I guess you're going to reveal your great thoughts on this 4 movie series, but the series of 4 movies we watched.
I think it's pretty easy because I have one thought, which is they were too confusing.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I had for the first one, it was I had no idea what was happening, and I had like 10 notes, and they were all like, I have no idea what's happening here. Is this like, I didn't even know if it was like sci-fi, or if it was like a grounded thing, and these are all like metaphorical visuals or whatever. It was so confusing. Now the confusion went a little bit down, but I'm still, even at the end of this, I am very confused.
It's obviously all out of order too, which is like a
It
big
is,
thing
yeah.
because I know there's like which order should you watch the movies in.
Obviously, the release order. But
Yeah,
yeah.
the first movie is very much an introductory movie, so if you were to watch it in order, it would be very boring, I would assume.
Mhm.
Um,
I don't know about that actually, because I was thinking about it. I
there's
don't.
like long shots of like
I
cities and the characters just like
which I like.
walking.
Yeah, I don't like it that it's out of order at all. I think it would have been much better in order.
Well, I
Now
guess
there are
we have to.
benefits. There are benefits to it that I would have preferred in order.
I think that's almost a
Um,
wait and see, because maybe it'll
I
pull
doubt
it
it.
in some crazy way.
It is very unlikely it will, but we'll see. But
Oh, okay,
Yep.
Larry, you just, what a dismissive little
not a
little
fan of
boy.
these. That's my takeaway. Maybe
Yeah.
if I rewatched it, I would, but I would
What-
give these like a 2, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't like these.
Well, that was good because I have another note here. I was like, I don't know what a leader will think. Will
Mhm.
he think they're terrible, well, like me, or be emotionally invested in some plot points? It was confusing. I didn't think I cared about that. I think it was boring. It is confusing in a sense. You kind of, I don't know, whenever something's confusing, you don't really understand the plot details too much, but it sort of telegraphs, we talk about this all the time, like telegraphs what you should think about something, or how you should feel in the scene. I don't know. I'm like I have no idea what I think, I guess. I mentioned this in the Attack of the Clones, in the Star Wars prequels thing we recorded, but in case there's people that are just watching this and not that one. My viewing experience with most of these was terrible because I was very tired while watching them and was like half falling asleep. That being said, I don't think that's the reason why it was confusing.
I mean, for me, my confusion doesn't even really have to do with the out of order stuff either. It's particularly the use of symbolism or whatever, the constant like philosophizing about things, and the like. I guess to me, like 2 characters looked very similar. Which was in the first episode, there was Shiki and there was the girl in the hospital at the end. And I was confused if they were the same.
person
Yeah.
for a little bit for a bit too. Yeah.
Well, I thought they were the same until the last episode. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah. That all confused me.
And then there's 2 Shikis.
Yes, there is, but there also isn't. And also I think this, it could just be my misunderstanding, but I think this thing tries to do show don't tell a lot. And I would much prefer if they just told me things.
I feel like they do telling, but it's all theme telling. Because they do the philosophizing where it's like, and this is the point, and this is the point, and this is the point.
No, I mean like through the visuals and stuff. Like they're showing these weird angel things and whatever, and I think they're meant to be like suicide or something. And and there's like these powers, and these powers are being shown to be like ghosts
they haven't
or something.
explained the powers at all.
I don't know. It's a bit. I wish they would just tell me things quite easily, or like be a bit like treat the audience a bit dumber and like maybe repeat the character names like in a more obvious setting or something. I don't know. I would just, as a naive viewer who's just so confused, I wish they would tell me more things.
Yeah, there's interesting things like that. I think the most telling thing coming out is that this is what was always described to me as like what light novel adaptations are like. This is like what everybody that hates ReZero describes ReZero as to me, where it's like, not in the confusing part, but it's just like characters sit down for like 5 minutes, they talk about something, they explain something, then there's supposed to be like an explained plot twist here, and then they explain the theme part. And it's just like, oh my God, it's just talking, and these idiots just telling you what you should think about what just happened, and it's like terrible. There's particular moments, especially with the third character. I have my anime list up here. We're gonna remember these names.
What does that mean?
The third character, the third main character, Toko or whatever, the puppet girl. The girl with the boobs.
I don't know who
the girl they work for.
Oh, the speech pathologist or whatever the hell her name was.
She was faking being a speech pathologist.
Okay, yeah, well, that's what she said. Yeah, okay.
She's got red hair. Maybe
yeah. Okay, yeah.
There's like constantly scenes of her explaining, no, this is why she did this. And it's like, it is like the worst of show don't tell, or tell don't show. Yes, tell don't show.
What do you mean?
Well, she's just explaining like how you should feel about this and what just happened
about
in the
what?
plot. She'll just do it constantly. She'll be like, this is why this character, she was lonely. And why was she lonely? Because loneliness really represents this. And she did that like once every movie.
Yeah, to me that is
awful.
not that is the show don't tell. Because to me it feels like she's not talking about stuff directly. She's like using symbolism in her language to imply.
No, I think she's talking about pretty directly.
Okay, then maybe I was too, because I was so confused if it was sci-fi at the beginning. That probably messed me up a lot.
Well, it's not sci-fi because it's not spaceships, literally, but it is fantasy, I think.
Well, it's science fiction because there's like things that are not in
Well, the
reality that
dolls
are
and
happening
stuff.
and are meant to be taken seriously, right?
So is Game of Thrones sci-fi?
I mean, is it meant to be taken seriously, like the fantasy elements?
What does that mean?
Like, because if you have the fake, I mean, my understanding of what is sci-fi to you then? My understanding of
Space.
sci-fi, okay.
Like definitively.
Would Black
and
Mirror be
absolutely.
sci-fi? I mean, you haven't seen
No.
Black
Well,
Mirror.
I guess that's future
Like,
technology. So I guess technology is more sci-fi.
I would assume, to me, sci-fi is like if you have an element that is not in reality, but it is taken seriously.
And how do you
But
distinguish that from fantasy? Because that's not taken seriously.
I think fantasy has like tropes and stuff. Like fantasy would
Sci-fi
be,
definitely has tropes, right?
well, not in my definition. Like I guess to me, fantasy is easy because it's like a genre of novels or whatever.
There
right?
is a
Like, like was there always fantasy in like a? I don't know anything about books, but was fantasy created by a particular person or was it like?
I don't know.
Okay, because I assume sci-fi is always like a thing that people have been doing because it's like, well, in my definition, I
I
guess.
feel like
but-
sci-fi is like
yeah.
an 1800s thing where there's that one book that has the first robot in it or something.
I don't even think of robots as like
Oh,
the
I don't
definitive sci-fi thing, but I don't know. Either way, what was I saying? I don't even remember.
I was going to say that there's that George R. R. Martin essay that says that sci-fi and fantasy are basically the same thing. So maybe you're right, Illyria.
I no, they're not.
You were
but
saying we were talking about the show Don't Tell and the booby girl monologuing.
yeah. Excellent.
Okay.
Okay.
That's like the worst part of the thing to me. I don't know. It feels over-explanatory in sort of a plot sense when it sounds reductive to just say, well, you could have shown like the character going through sadness or something rather than just telling us afterwards. And it always feels, and it does do the thing a lot where it's like, oh, it's like explaining a concept and it thinks it's like so clever in explaining the concept and it rubs me the wrong way. I did read some Mal reviews of the first movie specifically, and that is a thing. Like people call it pretentious all the time. That being said, for Mal, the first one has a 7.5, the second one has a 7.7, the third one has an 8.1. Or 8.0.
What is their rank? That's more interesting, I think.
Which in popularity
Like
or whatever. Score, I assume that's the first one. There are
Well, it would say it, right? Yeah.
900, 600, 1,100, 1,000.
Okay, so they're somewhat, people like them somewhat.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then Letterboxd is a little harsher. It's like 3.5, 3.6, 3.6, 3.5. I will say I probably would have kept watching if we weren't doing this thing. And now it seems like they're starting to have a plot. Like they seem to have introduced the bad guy at the end of the fourth one in the post-credits thing, or I think it might even be a scene before the credits and then after, where this dude shows up and he has like a name and everybody's reacting to the name.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if that's just the fifth movie that he's going to be in, or something.
I got the impression that the doll lady you're talking about was the bad person, but I guess
in the
we'll
end
see.
she might be.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, she came across as deceptive or whatever, but I guess we'll see.
I don't know. But yeah, it's sort of that. I don't think. Well, actually, do I have any other overall notes? Because I think it sort of changed as it progressed. So if we're going to talk about it,
I mean, I have overall notes.
Let me get this on. Oh,
Yep.
I feel like I have no idea what is going on in a wider sense. I feel like the movie. Okay, yeah, never mind. That is the point I was going to get to. So you do your overall.
Yeah, so mine was a little bit about what you were saying about people thinking it's pretentious. Or was that the word you used? Whatever.
Yeah,
like,
kind of. That's what Mal used a lot.
Yeah, to me, like a lot of the like mystical, symbolical, existential kind of questions or whatever. I was like, why am I watching this? Like, I feel like I've heard, like we heard there was some where they're talking about the philosophy of suicide or whatever. Like, oh, why would someone
Something
do
like
this?
that,
And I was like, I don't care about this at all. And then I have one quote here which really must have bugged me. It said, "In other words, your mind is up in the sky." And I was like, oh, okay, that's like symbolic language. I'm like, I don't care about this. So I did not like that element. Now that could be more of a Japanese translation thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't like it. My other kind of overall thought is just the music was really good. I did like
There's one song that sounds like the Madoka song, right?
and it is by the Madoka
Okay.
composer, yeah. And the Sword Art Online, of course, pretty crazy. But yeah, a lot. I would say a lot of the music feels like I could imagine it being in Madoka. But yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I think what I remember of the music I like, so that's good, I guess. I guess transitioning into kind of movie one, I felt like movie one was okay in most senses, but I got the wrong idea of what it was, because what I had assumed is that Shiki was a puppet and we were doing the Rei thing where she's like emotionless because she's literally not a person, and we're gonna like watch her become a person over the show, and like basically we're gonna see that through her falling in love with this boy. And I thought that was cute. Like they're clearly setting up the love thing in the first movie. I was like, oh, the boy's kind of boring, but okay, I'm kind of into this.
Mhm.
And then because we show the puppets, and there's a puppet that looks just like her, and she's got a
Yeah.
puppet arm and stuff. So I was like, oh, and because she's like non-emotive and like I don't know, like Ray. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, we're doing this. Okay. And then I was
Mhm.
like, okay, I could see that. I'm vaguely invested in that. And obviously, she's like, they have to save the main guy at the end because he's like knocked out because his spirit was taken away or something, something.
Mhm.
And then there was also, she's kind of like edgy and she like is enjoying the violence or something when she's fighting the girl at the end.
Mhm.
And she seems unsympathetic towards her.
So there. Okay. So if that's,
I guess we should
that-
probably like, I
if-
should recap the movie
I was
and see
gonna
if you
say,
agree.
if that was your theory, what is she in reality? Like, I guess I can try and explain.
She's
mine.
just like a murderer girl, right?
But she is a murderer girl with like a weird, actual like split personality with
She has a
special
split
abilities or
personality, which
something. Like,
is interesting because there seems to be two modes of thought. Because first of all, I had no idea until I looked it up. Well, I read a Letterboxd review that like it's a boy personality and a girl personality. Did you pick up on that at all?
no,
Because in the fourth movie they start.
Yeah, that's what I said.
using
I was like, oh, who is this? Like a mistranslation or something?
No,
That's what I
yeah.
assumed.
pronouns.
Because they did the last name as well, and I was like,
So,
oh, okay.
The thing is here, a lot of people are saying it's a trans allegory.
I don't know. I
Is
have no
like
idea.
okay, but I feel like this is like a very like modern Western thing. But Japan has historically done a lot of trans-ish stuff.
Mhm.
It's
I have no idea. It
usually
didn't even cross
different.
my mind. A
But
single
yeah,
time.
well, if it's
Yeah.
literally a boy inside of her, and then
Yeah.
that boy died or something, and now she's a girl, and she's also not very girly, I guess. A lot of people
Mhm.
on the letterboxes were like, "Oh, this is like the best. I felt so seen. This is the best like trans thing I've ever seen," or something, something. I've
Mhm.
never heard that about the show, which is interesting. The other thing could just be like, "Oh, she's like crazy." Now, this is another light novel thing in the sense of when people critique light novels for being tropish. This is sort of what they talk about, and it's funny because all of these I remembered and I connected them to like what people would say negatively about ReZero, and I
Which is crazy because
And-
this way you describe ReZero is nothing like
yeah,
ReZero.
it's entirely possible.
Yeah.
But shut up, moron! I'm getting to
Mm.
Mushoku Tensei. Mushoku Tensei is nothing like that. So it kind of plays into the thing of like if I watch the other isekais, maybe I would like Mushoku Tensei more.
Mhm.
But another aspect of its light novelhood that I was getting to, but I've forgotten now.
Mhm. I mean, I just,
It's the wacky. It's like the wacky but really dumb ideas that they think are really cool but aren't. Like, what if she was blind and in a hospital and she couldn't see? Wouldn't she be lonely? That type of thing. And then it's like,
no idea. No.
what if she couldn't feel pain and she existed and she had these superpowers? And it's like, which is the third movie. And it's like,
Mhm.
what if she was a murderess? But the twist is that she's got two personalities and one's a boy and one's a girl. And the boy one is the one
Yeah.
that likes the boy, but he likes the girl one. And then the fourth one doesn't really have one because we're kind of doing a plot thing.
Yeah, this feels more like a manga thing to me than I don't know any light novels. I've never
Yeah.
read Mushoku Tensei, but it feels just like a Japanese like manga thing.
The manga thing is like, I mean, the light novel aspect of it is like the extremeness of like the hypothetical. Like it's like we thought of an idea and then we thought of the extreme hypothetical, like condemn or endorse the idea.
What do you think of when you think of light novels? Because I think
People
never
talking
in my
about
mind-
ReZero in 2017, I guess.
Okay, ReZero has nothing to do with
Yeah.
that. The premise is just like he comes
Like
back to
Mother's
life or
Basement and
whatever,
Digibro talking about it and
Yeah.
like whatever.
I don't know any light novels. I know this. I know
Well, I've read-
Monogatari is like a light novel or something.
Yes, there's like a million of them.
Yeah.
Mushoku Tensei, obviously.
Yeah.
I've read
Like
the one Attack
Slime.
on Titan light novel.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Okay.
I was going somewhere with that, I think.
hmm They're like light novels. Well,
Something.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're from light novels.
I
I think
got
if
no
I go on the
idea.
Mel, there is a light novel, but sometimes they just adapt things into a light novel.
Mhm.
But who knows? It says manga here and light novel, so who knows?
Just a separate thing I just remembered. These, as far as I understand, they're classified as movies, right?
Yes.
They don't feel like movies at all. Like they don't feel like production qualities, anything special or anything. They just felt like this is fine.
There's a little bit like it probably looks better than 2007 TV anime.
Like Black Lagoon.
Black Widow 2006, by the way. But Death
Mhm.
Note would be the more direct one.
Mm-hmm.
Does it look better than Death Note? I guess it's a little
No,
bit
it
more
is more
stylized.
movement, I guess.
sometimes.
I don't know.
Those fight scenes have a lot of movement, right?
Maybe by 2007 standards. I don't know.
I feel like they
maybe.
were doing flash and lights and nonsense like you like nowadays.
The comparison would
Um,
be Fate, right? Which I haven't seen. So
Which supposedly has the best fight scenes of all
Okay.
time. So, The fighting is weird. The action is very boring to me. I
It's
don't
very
really know.
straightforward. It's like
Um,
running toward with knife and spinning around a few times. I don't know.
and powers that we vaguely don't understand.
Mhm.
Some of the shots, like I think in the first one, it's like raining on the building, and that looked cool sometimes.
Mhm.
Did you?
No.
The faces? No, this is a
Sure.
visual thing
Mhm.
where like the chins look weird.
I don't know.
Like the texturing on the chins. It
I
could
didn't
be possible
notice.
that it just wasn't like high quality. It could be possible that my rips were like too high quality and like they'd upscaled them or something. But the chins just look like blurry and weird, but it was only the chins.
I got no idea.
And also
'Cause they're
the
puppets, right? I
the
don't know.
no, and also the numbers on her phone, on her dial-up phone in her room, the corners of the buttons also looked weird. But that was it, and I got used to it if it was still the case.
The damn AI upscale.
So I don't
that's what
know.
it is.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a thing that was a stylistic choice. It was to the point where I was like going to get a different torrent because I was assuming it was bad. But then I went on a streaming site and it looked the same. So what can I do about that?
Yep.
So yes, I think it might be fun if I recap what I assumed the movie was about, and I kind of just reread the plots, and then you say if you agreed. So that was the first one, right? We are introduced to the characters. There's the ice cream.
Huh?
He puts ice cream in her fridge. It's strawberry ice cream,
yeah.
and then she eats it, and she lets herself have a moment of humanity when she eats it because she's obviously a puppet, right, Illyria? Except she's not. And then there's an initial fight where she gets beaten up really easily and her hand gets broken. She runs back, she gets it fixed, then she goes back and fights again and wins and frees her spirit. The villain was the girl in the hospital who couldn't see, or anymore couldn't see. She used to like the view or something, and that's why it's called Overlooking View. And then they have the fight, and she had somehow gotten Kuriko's spirit, that's the boy's name, I think.
No idea.
And then he was somehow freed. He was like sitting on the couch the whole time. And that was the movie.
And then she killed herself.
She did. She killed herself. I did feel sad when she killed herself, and I think that actually does play into a little bit of a subversion in episode 3 when that girl doesn't die at the end, because I was assuming they would all die at the end. It was also interesting that they were all like sad girls. So yeah, that's movie 1, right? What was my other thing here? The first movie sets up this cute, outgoing, normal boy and the robot girl love angle. That was what I was somewhat invested in. The following movies kind of throw out that characterization, mostly with Shiki, but also with the guy a little bit less interesting and simpy. I will say I was invested in their relationship in the first movie. Now I'm not really at all. And I assume that it's going to be the payoff of the whole series. So maybe they'll get me back. But he wasn't just like, it seemed like he was like just a normal guy. He might not have even liked her, but he just like looks after her because he's like a good little sweet friend. And she was just like a wall of non-emotion. But then it's like, oh no, he's like a simp that follows her around everywhere and will do everything for her, and she's murderous and evil. And it's like, well, I don't really care about them then. But whatever, we'll see. Maybe they'll get me back in the second half here.
This first movie, the worst one, definitely. I ranked it as my fourth.
I think it was probably the best one, actually.
Yeah, which was not good.
I don't know. The third one does have some. It's a little bit more exciting.
Okay, what's your ranking? Say the ranking.
I think the fourth one is probably easily the worst one. What is the second one? The second one is kind of boring at times too. I don't know. They're all okay. I don't know what I'd give him on like Letterboxd or Mal. I guess I'd give him like a 3.
Okay, not bad.
Because
I'd give him
like,
a 2.
yeah, I was like watching them. I guess it wasn't too bad.
I think for me the best is the third one with the ESP girl. The twisting girl. The
that was
second
the one that Heath gave a 10 and that Mal seemed to give an 8.
Yeah, that was really good. Then the second best one is the second movie where it's just like meeting Shiki for the first time, and it's just like a typical easy to follow kind of movie. And I was like, I like this. It's so easy to follow.
Well, I thought that was the most confusing one, especially with the split personality thing.
That was so easy. I understood it immediately. They explained that a lot. Okay?
It wasn't a boy. You didn't.
I don't care about the gender thing. That doesn't.
Well, that's like the defining thing. That
I have no
like
investment in the gender of whatsoever in this story. So if that becomes a big thing later on,
well, the whole thing is that the boy died, right?
Oh, what boy?
The boy personality died.
Well, a personality died. I don't care about the gender, but
well, because the girl one is the killer, the subtle one, the sad one, and it's what she's still like now.
Yeah, I understood that. Yeah, I don't. The gender just didn't even cross my mind. I thought it was a miscommunication.
Larry didn't pick up on it, so he doesn't want to hear about it.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't impact my interpretation whatsoever. But yeah, the second one was the second best one, and then the fourth one I thought was the third, and then the first one was the worst. So yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I have some other notes for this first one, but don't get used to notes. I'll tell you what. I did my ReZero point I just went over. There's like 4 metaphors that fold in on each other, which are cute. Every metaphor, and I did figure it out in the moment, and then I was like, I should probably write this down, and now I don't remember a single one of the metaphors, but they had like 4 metaphors that they kept repeating. And then I realized at the end that they all meant the same thing, and it had something to do with the girl, where it was like, oh, it was like a moth to a flame, and then something, and then I don't know, and they all like folded in on each other, and I'm like, oh, that's a clever idea. It's executed terribly because it's just monologue to us. But yeah, the strawberry ice cream was eaten at the wrong point. There was a moment where we sort of first get the indication that she is sad that the boy is comatose, and she comes home, but she doesn't eat the ice cream, and then she eats the ice cream later after there's a more explicit flashback showing that they have some history. And I was waiting for her to eat the ice cream in the second scene, but she ate it in the third scene, and I thought, this was not good. Should have done it in the second scene. I did care for the relationship, I guess, which I've already gone over. The anime hypothetical villain theme I already talked about that. So then, Alito, we go into movie 2, which was the backstory one. Yep. One day he sees her, Lamau, and then one day he sees her again at their high school introduction thingy or something. They looked a little old for that. When they did the establishing shot for their high school introduction thing, I was like, oh, they're in college, because everybody looked old, but no, it was high school apparently, so isn't that epic? And then he sits next to her or something, he tries to have lunch with her, he's basically slowly trying to get to know her because he's intrigued. The Mal plot rewrite seems to indicate that he was intrigued because she's wearing a kimono, which is something that's like commented on a bunch, that she's always like traditionally dressed and stuff. We do get flashbacks to her training with her dad with the knife or something. Yep. I don't know if the supernatural stuff is supposed to be like in the family, or it's a completely separate thing.
I didn't get any vibe, but I could just be wrong. To me, it just seemed like, oh, this is a rich, like, traditional family, and they're just learning how to use this.
But then there's the implication that she has like a brother or something. I can't tell if it was an older brother or a younger brother, and everybody's like, shouldn't the brother be the next head of the clan? But she is, and I think that has something to do with the gender thing, because she has she's half a boy, so she gets to be the head of the clan. I don't know if that was something we were supposed to pick up on. I
don't remember. But also the family doesn't know about the split personality thing.
Well, assuming you're right.
Well, I think she explicitly mentioned, like, oh, what would they think if they knew there were two Shikis in the show?
Maybe, okay. But yeah, at some point, it's like, because this is kind of something I didn't pick up on, or I didn't believe. I thought there was a twist coming where it seems like they're setting up her to be the murderer in this one, but then she just is. But the boy is still like interested in her. The boy has like a cousin who's on like the police force that's like feeding him information. He like waits outside her house every day and every night. In the little garden, which is the Garden of Sinners, I guess.
I had no idea. I didn't think that was a garden, but wait, you mean like when he's outside her window?
Oh yeah,
it's not much of a garden. It looks like a forest or something. Oh my god,
bridges and stuff.
I think a garden would be better maintained, but maybe.
I don't know. Maybe the garden is metaphorical.
I think the Garden of Sinners is just meant to be like death, right? Like all the sinners go to hell and they die or something. I don't know.
So it's hell. That's crazy.
No, they're like death, like the place she talked about. Like, oh, you've seen death now. Like, death is the Garden of Sinners.
And that's how she got her powers, but I think
no. Well, she always had the thirst for blood or whatever, which is a weird, unnatural thing. I feel like that was.
I don't know. I thought that was just like, oh, she's a weird murderer.
I don't know. I also don't know, because I was going to say, obviously the split personality thing is like a weird, abnormal thing, but maybe they just believe that in Japan is like a thing. I don't know.
Isn't it a thing? You know, bipolar or something?
I don't think so, no. Not to this degree, is what I'm saying.
Nah, I think it is.
I can't believe what you want. And maybe Japan thinks
I've seen it in plenty of movies that aren't from Japan, Illyari, so it must be real.
True.
Now, my notes here are, those high schoolers look a little old. I just said that. A flashback movie and reveal of a split personality, male split personality. Those are my 3 notes on this movie. So there's like a thing, they were eating oranges or something, and they were putting the skins down. That was pretty cool.
I don't remember. No.
when he's with his cousin all the time. Other than that, did anything else happen? Do you have any
I have one note. Shiki sparing her life is cute. What does that mean? No, that's in the 3rd movie.
Yeah.
That's my
that was
note.
cute.
Yeah, that was cute. Yeah. That's my only note for all these movies, actually.
The fourth movie is a sequel to the second one, more directly. Though there is a movie.
2, 3, 4, 1, right?
Yes, I think so.
I wrote down the timelines in my notes.
2, 4, 3, 1, I think.
No, the injury happens after 3, right? Wait, am I crazy? Wait, let me get my actual notes.
No, 4 is 1996. I remember that.
Digest. Let's see.
Oh, I can just read the letterbox.
No. I made notes. Please, this is the one thing I made notes on.
I'm gonna figure it out. You can do the thing.
Yeah. So number 1 takes place in September 1998. Number 2 takes place in 1995. Number 3, I have no idea. Then number 4
is 1998.
Okay. Then July. What is number 4?
and number 4 is June of 1998. So it's right before the third one.
Oh wow! Wait, so you're saying the
But
third one happens after the fourth one?
Yeah, which is what I had assumed.
Oh no, that makes perfect sense because like the audiologist lady, or whatever, is recruiting her in the fourth one.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which means it's also the first one is after that. The
Yep.
Did she get injured in the end of the second one? Why is she in the hospital? This says it was a traffic accident, but I don't remember that at all. Are we going to see that later?
She was in hospital in the second one.
At the end
which
of the
is
second one, she
why
in
I thought
hospital.
that she was the girl in the first one who was in hospital, and I was like,
No,
oh,
I did
okay.
get that at the end of that too, but then I realized that they had different names. So,
But no, I think it's just a separate incident.
that she. Okay, it's a little stupid, but okay.
Yep.
It is. I don't know. I'm kind of confident that maybe the rest of it will recontextualize everything. Clearly, is not.
Nope. No faith in this.
But Heath loves it so much. Look at how. Don't you have faith in the great Heath?
I don't know what he likes about it. He might just like the vibe of it, like the way it looks. I don't know.
I like the vibe, but not really. So yeah, that's the second movie. So how does the second movie end? She ends up in the hospital. She's like standing over him with a knife. She's got the red coat on. No, she's got the red kimono on. Remember that one shot where suddenly she's in the garden when it's raining? It's my thing on my media checklist. That was a really cool shot. Hold on, I'll get it up for you because you definitely don't remember.
Okay.
For the first one, I think I just used a shot of her drinking. I did the vibes of the first one. You know, what if it was actually what I thought it was, Leroy? Maybe then it would be good.
Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe you're holding out hope.
This shot.
Okay, yep.
It was really cool. She just suddenly appeared there, and it was scary because she was that scary girl. But yeah, that's the old second movie, Leroy. I will say I did like the miscellaneous shots, not insert shots, but just of stuff in the second movie was better than the first movie. In the first movie, it was a lot of people walking along that bridge. In the second one, it was like, oh, a pool and then a puddle and then the treetops, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I like those shots. But yeah, movie 3, Elite Ari. Now,
this was great. It was like a
was it
2 out of 5, yeah, but like a higher 2 out of 5 compared to the others.
The girl. So this movie opens on a rape scene, a gang rape scene. That's pretty epic. And then she kills them all because she unlocks her powers because a guy hits her in the back with a bat because she's not reacting to the rape because she can't feel pain.
Because her dad did it to her or something.
Did he?
Yeah, it was like there was a thing about I had an issue. My dad sent me to a doctor and gave me medicine. And
True.
Medicine didn't do what.
This was another thing where there was 3 metaphors about why you have to feel pain or something, and it was like a theme about that. And I was like, oh, okay, very well. And then I thought she was pregnant. I thought that was the thing. Because she was holding her stomach all the time, and it's like, oh, she can suddenly feel pain. So I'm like, oh, she has life in her, but it's from the rape, so that's sad. And that's why she can now feel pain because the baby is
appendicitis for her.
But she had appendicitis, and then we had to explain that it wasn't appendicitis towards the end. This was the thing with like the 3 different plot switches, but it's all in the one monologue of the girl explaining it in the car. And I was like, this is retarded.
So you're saying it wasn't appendicitis?
I think in the end it wasn't, right?
Okay, I assumed it was,
or maybe it was. Oh no, because she like cuts it out of her, I think. Right? Because she stabs her in like the stomach and does this thing, and then puts her hand in, I think.
And yeah,
is that how you cure appendicitis?
I have no idea, but she did say that. Oh, I cut the thing out of her, or cut the illness out of her, or whatever she said. So yeah, maybe she fixed it.
Yeah,
like a doctor. Yeah.
The cute thing at the end of this movie was that she didn't kill her.
Yeah,
which is like we're doing this weird like, is it a Shiki redemption thing of like she was a crazy murderer girl who just murdered all these random people who I don't think were bad guys and just like chopped their bodies up because she wanted to, right? That's what happens in the second movie.
Well, we don't know anything about them, but yeah.
Well, you kind of see scenes of seemingly.
We don't know if they're innocent.
Well, yeah. Maybe she's also a rape revenger here. With the Shiki redemption thing. So now she's doing nice things, even though apparently all she wants is to kill people, and that's why she has this job, because it's like a Dexter thing where she gets to kill like the bad guys. Right?
I mean, this could have just been a transformational moment.
It could have been. Is there any coming back from like being a serial killer?
Of course there is, yeah.
No, I don't think so.
It would be coming back from anything as long as you change your ways, right?
No, I don't believe you would.
I don't believe it can happen.
Action.
I don't believe it could happen, but if it did in a movie like this, or in a series like this, then yeah, of course.
They did redeem that old Darth Vader after he killed all those kids. So.
And planets, and yeah.
Well, nobody cares about planets, so we didn't see that. Yeah, so crazy. But they did have a fight in like, was it a factory or something? Or tower?
They fought in a bunch of places.
And then they were running around.
They destroyed the bridge. which was cool. Oh my god.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, I love the power scaling. She's so strong. We have to kill her.
Oh, I have my first note here is she stood on the trail of blood as it came to her. Do you remember this shot at all?
Absolutely not.
So I think the girl is on the ground bleeding, and it's bleeding towards Shiki, and the blood is like slowly coming towards her, and she stops the blood trail by stepping on it.
Awesome.
And I was like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. It's like blood trail, like Roberta. Remember that?
Yep.
This girl did remind me of Yukio from Black Lagoon. Do you remember who that was? The Japanese girl with the samurai dude in the long arc at the end of the second season.
Yes. Okay.
She's kind of had that vibe. I guess it was maybe the gang rape scene too. Though
I mean, we're talking about the girl with the ESP stuff, right?
Yeah.
She reminded me of Fern from Free Run because she just looked like her. And I was like, oh, okay.
Free Run here. We love great references to Black Lagoon.
Thanks to Fern from Free Run is why I recognized that she was in the 4th movie. I was like, oh, okay, that's her. I figured it out. Oh my god.
Who's in the 4th movie?
The girl with the purple hair. The twist girl. Because it's like before.
She's in the 4th movie?
Yeah, or in the post-credit scene, I think. Where the evil guy shows up and is like, I'll give you a power or something.
There's also a post-credit scene of the first movie that I guess I read Mal and is the dude's sister. Because there's like an ominous thing.
Dude, sister, what?
The main dude's sister.
Who's the main dude?
Oh,
the glasses guy.
Kukiko.
Okay, yeah.
There's no other dudes in this whole thing except for the bad guy now.
Okay.
He has a sister because Shiki comes. This is actually a good scene. I like this scene where she's with the ESP girl in movie 3. They're like having lunch because they're friends. And then Shiki comes in and says, "Your brother told me to tell you that he'll be home late, bitch." And then the sister's like back, "You're a dumb slut, bitch." And then they're like doing a little catty thing because it's the girlfriend and the sister.
I didn't realize that was his sister, but
yes, they have the same name and he says it. But then in the end of the first movie, there's an ominous like character introduction post-credit scene where it's somebody walking with somebody talking about the boy. I'm assuming that this is the sister because Mal said that the sister was in that first movie. And there's only like, if you look at Letterboxd, there's literally like 5 credits because there's 5 characters.
That's kind of crazy.
Look at this. And this is like a reporter voice, announcer voice. And then that's the sister, because Kukito is the last name, right? And then that's the doll girl. This is probably the bad one. That's the main boy, and that's Shiki. I'm a genius. I know everything. I'm assuming that's it. It seemed to imply that she was like a supernatural girl too, but maybe not. Maybe it was just she was checking in. I don't know if the novel is told in this order. Maybe it was like a reference to this character because it'll become a character later, and it wasn't like a supernatural implication. I don't know. But yes, that third movie, there was an old fight scene and stuff, huh?
Yep, it was cool. I like that. Best fight in the series.
Why is the thing that's going on my channel us shitting on a thing everybody likes?
I don't know.
Very on brand. Maybe this was good. I was half expecting you to go, I was really emotionally invested.
No,
because sometimes you do that when I'm like, oh, this is shit.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, it's close to Perfect Blue, where it could be like, if it was a bit more ambiguous, and I'd be like, oh, this is cool. Like, there's like, you know,
I don't think there's any ambiguity. I think all the like the demons, or not the demons, but whatever is like a literal thing the way we're just fighting.
Yeah, but you also think Perfect Blue, everything is like literal in that.
Well, no, Perfect Blue is like, well, a little bit, but like obviously it's abstract literarity.
So I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I knew pretty quickly that I wasn't gonna like this. Like maybe middle of the first episode, but I don't know. I
don't know. It definitely was like, oh, this is very generic immediately for me.
Oh wow.
Like,
okay.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it felt like anything I'd seen before necessarily.
Well, the doll thing, I was immediately like, oh, this is just Ray, which I was wrong about, to be fair. But also, it was like, oh, the relationship of this is like a big anime trope, right? The nice boy and the emotionless little crazy girl. It's always funny because it seems to be like all anime girls are either really over the top or really understated, which is funny because, you know, these dumb animes are made by men. They don't know women.
I have no idea if I agree with
like
that.
Great
so
movies,
many women.
like we'll talk about soon.
What about Makima? Where does she fall?
No, Fujimoto doesn't count.
Okay, yeah, that's
genius,
true. Okay,
fucking moron.
Yeah.
You think the great Kentaro Miura counts? The great Kasuga?
Yeah.
When I was saying that, I was literally only thinking about anime I haven't seen, by the way.
Okay, nice. Well done.
This character is.
Yeah.
Like I even compared it to Ray, and Ray's the 10th greatest character of all time. But it is kind of true. Like the Ghost in the Shell girl is also like really understated.
That's another movie I don't think I'm gonna like if I rewatch it.
Great Ghost in the Shell, what a movie!
Yeah.
The visuals are very outstanding. You'll love
the music.
The music.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one's pretty good.
It's the only one I know.
There's like one other one in the movie, but that one's good too. I just forget it. The movie's more exciting even if I don't like as much what's going on. Oh, in this movie, in the third movie, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, because I think I was like, oh, some of these decisions are stupid. And there's like one of the guys that raped her was like, an old friend of the main guy or a friend of the main guy, because the main guy has a friend that's like a wrestler. They're like in scenes in the gym and they're wrestling, and then he has
yes.
a drink with him afterwards, and he's like,
Yep.
"Do you remember that boy that used to hang around you all the time?" Oh, he's
Wait,
like,
so
"Oh, I miss him."
there was one thing I really liked in this movie, which is that the glasses guy was helping one of the rapist people. Was that because he's a friend?
That's because it was like an
Oh,
old guy that used to hang
That's
around.
terrible. I thought it was just like he's like so good that he's like trying to help these
it
people.
is that. It is interesting. That was like an interesting thing. But nah, just let her kill him. Fuck him. It was a pretty evil gang rape scene.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And then later we hit her with a bat. Oh my god, it was crazy. Yeah.
My second note here was the main girl is much more outgoing now. We've kind of lost the romance subplot, and that's sometimes what I was interested in the first movie. She was a little bit more outgoing here, where she was sort of gloating and stuff like that, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe we'll see where this character goes. The iteration on the stomach pain through the monologues is crazy. This is where I'm talking about how it was something, and then it was appendicitis, and then it was something else or something. So that was very funny. The death scene and the pleading kind of got me. Oh, because I think when she's gonna kill her, she's like pleading, and I was like, oh, I hope she gets through this. And then she did spare her. I think that's what I was referring to there. And I was like, oh, that was cute. The pleading was good. No, I remember this because I was like, oh, it was like a sad pleading. I bumped the mic a little bit. You'll be fine. It's still blue.
Okay, but more about the fight scene. I was very invested actually in that fight scene because of the power scaling. Oh my god. I was like, I don't know why, but I was like, oh, Shiki shouldn't lose to this person. She's so good in the fight and stuff. And when she like did the bridge thing and like did a giant explosion, I was like, oh no, not Shiki. This is gonna ruin my whole power scaling thing. So I don't know, like
We're rooting for
I liked
Shiki
it.
here.
I mean, but yeah,
I assume this girl is going to come back and be our favorite side character for the next, well, at least the movies that are past this point in the timeline.
I hope not. I hope she just lives a nice, happy life away from everything. You know?
No, she's going to fall in love with Kikiko and steal her from Shikigo.
I think this will end in the Garden of Sinners. Everyone will be dead. Maybe the world will be destroyed or something.
So. We're just going to beat up this big muscly guy that's showing up. There's like epilogues. So how are we going to have epilogues? What, from heaven?
Are they movies? Epilogues? What do you mean?
Yes, because I originally thought it was 7 movies, then he told me it was 8, but then there's 2 epilogues, and on his thing here on Mal, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay.
And the third last one is epilogue.
Okay.
Makes sense. Heath is going to hate us a little, right?
No, he's going to defend the movies in the description, I'm sure.
Good, I'm looking forward to it. What do you think he likes about him?
I would assume that there's a lot of depth in the writing that I'm just going over my head. Like, that I'm just not understanding.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Though even the people that were liking it on Mal were like, it might be pretentious, but I still love it. So I don't know. Reading some of these reviews might be funny at the end. But nearly at the end now, because now we got movie 4, which is Shiki in a bed.
Yep.
And she
destroys her own eyes. Yeah.
Yes, at one point, because she's seeing things because she's just gotten her powers, I think. And the nurse girls are making fun of our main boy for being a little puppy dog. That was kind of funny. He came to visit her every day for like 2 years later.
Just like you did with the girl in the first episode, which is why I thought they were the same person.
Oh, yeah.
He brought flowers every day, and I'm like, oh, it is the same person. The flowers
I think it's the same hospital, right? And like,
I would assume so, yeah.
So he was doubling up.
And also, so many things. Like even at the end of the first episode, they like, oh, that she was sick for 10 years. She's the big famous family she's in. And I'm like, oh, she's in a big family too. It must be her. It has to be. I don't know. Yeah, I was very confused.
I don't think so. Maybe somebody will show up and say, oh, maybe that's the big twist at the end.
Yeah, maybe that's the actual...
The girl is actually all the girls in the show.
No, I was going to say, maybe like that's the split personality, but it actually got split now. And
I did have that thought at some point.
Yeah.
That's funny. But yeah, and then there's like a fight scene outside with a zombie corpse guy. And the redhead girl knows a lot about this eye power somehow, and she's going to teach us how to do it.
Because she's a magi.
Magnus or something. You know, we love them.
Magus, the ancient Magus' bride.
Oh, the great Kraftsdorf gave the first movie a 3.5 star. Did you, bro? 4.5 stars. So isn't that crazy? And then this person here says 50-minute ad for Haagen-Dazs strawberry ice cream. Is that true?
It is impressive that they managed to get that there.
A 5-star review, Alito. You need this. Unless you have something to say about the 4th movie. No? Okay.
Nope. Actually, no. I mean, I thought it was better when I thought it took place like right before episode 1. Because I was like, my assumption...
It kind of does.
No. Like, there's the whole movie 3 afterwards, right? Because my assumption was, oh, this is so cool she was doing all the mission stuff and she
Oh.
got injured, and now her life is like ruined. I thought that's what the premise was. And
So
it's, like,
when was
trying to
the
cope
first
with that.
one?
Like all the way to the end. It's like we just caught up to it. It's like right after the third movie, right?
July 1998 is the third one.
Yeah, the first one is way after that.
No.
Like September 1998 or something like that.
Oh, well, that's not right.
Yeah.
The what was I just saying?
I don't know.
Oh, I had a 5-star review that was going to illuminate us on what was good. It's like the top popular review on the thing on Letterboxd. Karanokyo Kai and Overlooking View is a film that questions the audience about human nature and how we understand ourselves. In its opening scene with the butterfly and the dragonfly, that was one of the 4 metaphors. The butterfly is interested in the fast dragonfly and tries to keep up with it. As the butterfly tries to catch up, it realizes that the two live for different reasons, but the butterfly is meant to be beautiful. And
you know what this sounds like? Show, don't tell.
Yes. I mean, tell, don't show. Because they do explain this in the movie.
They do?
I remember this monologue. Because the whole thing is that the boy is the one that's having struggle flying, but in his last moments, he wants to fly just to be with her.
So it sounds like show and tell.
That's kind of what the whole movies are, I guess.
Yeah.
It's funny because they kind of do show, don't tell, only to tell it later.
Yeah.
Which is what I used to say about Isamu, remember? He's subtle until he's not. But that was a good thing. This one was not a good thing. A butterfly is meant to be beautiful and fly, and a dragonfly is meant to be a hunter, because that's the girl, or kill. And later on, the film would question the audience metaphorically. What does it mean to fly or float? The purpose of it all. Oh, that was the other one, flying and floating, where floating is just like casting by and not having a purpose, but flying is to go with purpose, literally. And if you're a butterfly, you just float. But if you're a dragonfly, you fly.
Right.
Fly, fly, fly. Overlooking View may be seen as the first installment syndrome, but it's also the first entry that adds depth to Karanokyo Kai. Let's see, they say Karanokyo Kai too, because they're cool too. While it does introduce the characters as we should know them already, the film provides a characterization of our main characters visually and the world symbolically. The atmosphere of Overlooking View is accompanied by the lighting/color in the cinematography and Yuki Kadamada's score alongside Calafina's vocals. Calafina from, of course,
Madoka
ED. With Overlooking View being the first entry of the series, it doesn't fully establish the characters, but the world that is Karanokyo Kai, such as the philosophy about death, dual existence.
I didn't like this.
And the lore that would later be expanded upon in the writer's later work. After all, Overlooking View is the beginning of the puzzle that is Karanokyo Kai. Does that win you over or explain anything?
It kind of reinforces that, there was symbolism. I didn't like it.
It's just so deep, brother. Too deep for you, frankly. Hard bodies, sharp minds, and a soul of smokeless fire. 4 stars. A phantom limb, a dancing blade, an urban hellscape. Apparently we're all poets in this review section. All us floaters aspiring for flight. You know, Leo, we're just floating out here. We don't have a purpose in life, but one day we'll take flight. And then this one's 5-star that says strawberry Haagen-Dazs. That's the ice cream there.
Yep.
This one's not in English. And this one is a 2-star thing that says decent. I don't know if I'd go that far. Hold on, I want to read maybe one from the third one. Is there a high note? Give me a big one. Kill all men. True. They were raping Alito. You got to get rid of these men. Not sure how I feel about the twist, but it's a badass time that gives some character development for Shiki.
What's the twist?
The girl living, maybe, at the end? More of a subversion than a twist. I don't know. What about this 4th movie? Any good ones here? This guy was over this was one of the
creators
from last time. Accept your maleness if you want to kill it and become who you truly are. Shit is trans, y'all. So, which is a trans thing. Oh, this is the same guy too. Meeting the Herion Mofat, embracing entropy. What's entropy got to do with this?
It's like a meme, and this is like a meme I've seen.
No. This is a metaphor. Mystical eyes of hell, yeah, because that's what her eyes are called or something. But we added yeah.
I'm starting to see what the audience for this is.
Okay. Why? What's your take here?
They're just very deep people who love depth. I don't know.
Like the great Mushoku Tensei fans.
Like
the great Berserk fans.
Yeah, sure. I don't like Mushoku Tensei fans. Okay.
This review may contain spoilers. 10 out of 10. I like when she stabbed herself.
True. And they like went through her. It's crazy.
Oh, this one looks like a write-up. The 4th entry of Karanokyo Kai is definitely what almost everybody was yearning for. Lots of gaps are sealed. Things are confirmed. Foundation is actually cemented. I do believe the first 4 chapters of this story are just the beginning, as evident with movie 5.
Oh.
This is just a really tight story, surgical dialogue, delectably drip-fed exposition payoffs. UFO Table understands the original work to a T, and it's really no surprise. They are Goliaths. My review for film 5 will either be long as hell or 1 or 2 sentences. That movie is my shit. So, Leary, we just got to get excited for the next ones.
How long is the next one?
It's one of the hour and a half.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. I guess.
I guess we got to get through it, Elitari. Maybe
I'm sure it'll be good.
Maybe Heath should let us know. Maybe Heath will say,
No,
"Well, if you didn't like
yeah.
them, fuck it, just drop it," or you'll be like, "5th one." Okay.
I think now that we've talked a bit, I have a better understanding of what was happening, and maybe I'll love the next one. Maybe I'll be like, "Oh, it's
explain,
5. Like, this is great."
It'll be funny because what might happen is I'll probably be the same, but I could see you switching. I could be like, "This was really good. It was an improvement over the first one in every way."
Yeah, we'll see.
You say that all the time. You said that about Fire Punch when you were wrong. All right, because we don't have much more to say, right? Why? I have to give it less than 3 stars, right?
I don't know. It's up to you.
But why is Miller the Killer right, Leader? Why can't I give anything a less than 3 stars?
I have no idea.
It wasn't like terrible, was it? Or was it? It kind of was, right?
I didn't like it, but I have no idea what you think. Like in terms of rating, like you gave the Star Wars prequels a 3.5.
What a great set of movies. I loved them, but they were really bad sometimes. And they were fundamentally flawed. These ones are fundamentally flawedly boring.
I mean, you could always go back when you've watched them all and change the ratings.
I just don't know, Gary. We'll have to see. Maybe I'll wait until the video comes out.
Yeah, do it.
Otherwise, I would True.
Yeah.
I would spoil it for Heath. What if he's watching it? He's going to be disappointed when he sees our rating.
True.
Should we end Heath's disappointment by ending this video?
We should leave a request for comments on something. I don't know.
Yes, I don't know. Comment, get mad at us or something. Tell us why it's great. I'm interested. I will probably be back for the next one. We won't be in person unless it takes that long.
Yep.
I'm already back. Nothing else?
I had nothing to say.
The fault links in the description below. Thanks.